It's Jared from Let It Go Life, and in this interview today, I'm going to talk to Maria from Go Downsize. She does a lot of stuff on decluttering and downsizing and living debt free and all kinds of things like that. It's a really cool interview. She shared a lot of information that I think will be really valuable to you. All right, good morning, everyone. I'm here with Maria from Go Downsize. She actually featured us on her channel about 6 months ago, I guess, and so that's kind of how our channel took off. And so she talks a lot about downsizing, decluttering, basically anything that's helping you simplify your life. So thanks for being here, Maria. How are you?
Welcome. I'm really good.
Good deal. So give us a quick background on your story and kind of how you guys got into this whole get rid of a bunch of stuff thing.
Sure. I think actually it was my fascination of small spaces that got us, or that got me started. I studied architecture and I just always liked the very small spaces. And I remember thinking, well, everyone can design a big house. It's designing the little, like smaller spaces. That's a really good challenge. So I think even back then I was just prone to that whole concept somehow. And then the years went on. And then I think in 2012 or something, my husband and I were really kind of stuck financially. We had invested some money in a company and it didn't look like we're going to get that money back. And so we basically lost that money and just leaving us with that and student loans and credit cards. So we had a lot of debt that we needed to pay off and it would take a long time according to the bank. So we were like, okay, we have to change some things up if we don't want to be stuck in this forever. And that's when my husband really joined. His initial thought was, why live small when you can live big? Yeah. But he changed it around. So I'm really grateful for that.
So how much debt did you guys dig yourself out of?
We're in Denmark, so it's like the currency conversion thing is different, but it's around $80,000.
Okay, roughly.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big chunk of change there.
Yeah, and we did it in 2.5 years, I think. 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 probably. Yeah. So we were just really sticking with it and budgeting like crazy and not spending any money. And in that process, we had like a 4-bedroomed apartment. Over here, it's called bedrooms, but it's really just 4 rooms. So 4 of those, or 2 of those were bedrooms, and then 2 of them were living spaces. And so what we did was, okay, if we need to like really get rid of this debt, we need to not spend much. But that means that we're going to be stuck here and we can't travel at all. So we basically decided to rent out half of our apartment and share it with a friend. And then we would take that money, put it into travels, and then save up for traveling that way. So we just kind of had to get creative in making every penny count.
Right.
We downsize even more because then we were in, I think, 450 square feet.
Okay, yeah. So did you use a plan out there? Like we used Dave Ramsey's plan to dig ourselves out. Did you use something similar to that? I know there's several of them.
No, it was just my plan, I guess.
There you go. Hey.
I didn't run into any specific plans. We did go through, like I found this, I don't want to call him old, but elderly guy, Jim Sammons. He did like a crazy, like we ordered a DVD set back when you couldn't download, and we watched that, and it was about, I think, 16 hours of financial education from like a biblical foundation stuff.
Cool.
So I'm guessing a lot of that is probably overlapping with Dave Ramsey. And I found Dave Ramsey after that, but we were just knocking at the depths and we were actually going from the smallest to the largest, just like Dave Ramsey is talking about. So we were doing the snowball, but just in our own.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys now, you do, because you do a lot of like decluttering and downsizing stuff on your channel, and I'll be sure to drop a card in up here to link you over, but you do a lot of that now. So like, how important would you say your getting out of debt was to like learning that and like your process for where you're at now and what you teach now?
I think it's a big part. I think it's always hard to take just downsizing or just finances. For
Hmm.
me, they're very much linked together, and they bounce off each other so much,
Right.
affect each other a lot. Um, so I think just being in the whole like trying to sell all the extra stuff that we had freed up finances, and it downsized our living space at the same time.
Right.
So for me, they're kind of hand in hand. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that had we not needed to make that change and like really like pay off stuff, then we wouldn't have started down the path of, okay, we need to get rid of all of our excess things we don't need. And I don't know how it is over there in Denmark, but here, like, I mean, we've been marketed to for the last, 40 years of purchase things, like buy everything that exists, and
yeah,
it's really frustrating now to a lot of people that a lot of people now see it as that's kind of like a love language is purchasing something for someone,
yeah,
and that like it's detrimental to my health, like it really is. And
yeah,
it's very difficult when you have kids, especially when you have three kids like I do, and the grandparents are like, hey, I'm gonna get them each a couple things, for
yeah,
visiting, and then that's six things that are coming into my house, and so now what am I gonna do with it?
yeah,
So it's and I think the thought is like the again, the thought's not bad. Like I'm not. It's thinking about my kids is totally. I appreciate it very much, but um, but it's it's the fact that something else is coming in the house, and like I said over here, we sold like probably 60% of our stuff when we downsized our house, and I still feel like we have a lot of things. Like now we use
yeah,
the vast majority of them, but we could definitely live with less if we had less.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. I know that feeling. I think we don't have as much, like, we do have advertisement and all that stuff over here, of course, but it's not as aggressive as it is in the States.
right.
It's a little bit more subtle, and also prices in the States are a bit cheaper, so I think it's easier to just buy a whole
Mm,
lot of stuff. I think over here it's a little bit easier to be a little bit more mindful of every time you spend something,
right.
because things are just priced a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But in general, I think it's the same circumstances.
Yeah.
And it's just so easy. I'm thinking about this whole, we downsized so much and we decluttered so much, but still now we have Max, he's 1.5, and things just keep creeping in. Like just this weekend, we went to my mother and like Morten's parents, and they work at this thrift store, so we just brought like I think one like really big bag and some furniture and just random items. I'm like, why do we even still have this stuff? Like, where does it come from?
Hmm.
Why do we still have things that we need to donate? But it
Yeah.
just keeps coming up, and that's why I keep doing the videos too, is to just show people, yes, we've done the initial downsizing, but things keep coming. Like,
Hmm.
we can't stop that. And just grandparents and nieces and nephews, they all want to give
Right.
presents to Max, and that's great. But every time they give something, like one present, every box contains 9 small little items. I'm like, come on. One present should be one item. There's like small little things
Yeah.
everywhere. So I just try to go through it every once in a while and
Yeah.
weed it out because he does not play with all of it. But
Right.
yeah, and it's the same with Morten and I.
Yeah.
Then you purchase a little thing and a little thing, and then that dress, but that doesn't work anymore. And
Hmm.
Morten, he has a thing for thrift shops. He really likes to go there. So he finds a good deal sometimes, and then he's like, after a while, well, it doesn't really fit. No.
Yeah.
And then he passes it on. So it's like things come in and they have to go out again.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I was folding laundry the other day, like not even joking, because we always have a pile of laundry somewhere that's clean, But it's
Yeah,
like, I mean, let's be real. When you have
it's endless.
when you have kids and a family, you just have a pile of laundry somewhere. So so like I was folding it the other day, and I literally like went in my closet and like took out like 8 shirts that I was just like, I'm getting rid of more shirts. Like I don't
Yeah,
need these. I haven't worn them. I'm so tired of having so much laundry. And I know
yeah,
that a lot of it's the fact that there's 5 people in our house, but it's just another thing to be mindful that I don't even wear these things. Like, I haven't worn these shirts, and some of them I kept because Rachel really liked them, and she wanted me to wear them and stuff, but they didn't fit right. They were kind of like, just didn't work as well
Yeah.
as my other ones. And I was like, at the end of the day, I might wear these like once a month, if that, because I feel like I have to because it's hanging there. So like I just got rid of
Yeah,
them.
you have your basic favorite items of about, I don't know, 7
Yeah,
items. I just wear the same pair of jeans all the time.
yeah. Jeans are never
I
dirty.
have my favorites, and I have 2, 3, maybe 4 shirts that I prefer to wear, and
Yeah,
I wear them over and over. And then, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I
I
have
don't
this. I have this designer that it's a Ugg Monk, and he's a graphic designer. Well, he's a lot more than a graphic designer now, but he has a line of T-shirts and apparel and stuff. And so, like, I have several of his things. That's pretty
yeah,
much all I wear. Like, that's what
yeah,
I. This is this. It's kind of hard to see it. Anyways, this shirt is one of his that he did in collaboration with a 116 Records, which is like a they do like Lecrae and all those kind of Christian rappers and stuff. So,
yeah. And then
but
it's personal. It's like,
yeah, it means something, and I know
yeah,
that I'm supporting like this guy and his family, and like I see his family on Instagram and stuff, and you email
yeah,
him, he'll email you back. I mean, it's just those are the types of things that I appreciate more, I guess, when I
yeah.
have a little more connection to the company or whatever I'm
Yeah.
doing. So
I actually, for Christmas this year, I wished for people, like mainly just my family, to go and buy me something that they really wanted to give me, something like preferably something that could be used for something,
right,
not just sit in a windowsill. But from this one street in Aarhus where I live, there's so many like artists and
mm,
just small business owners that have all their own little stuff there. And so I just wrote on there, well, just go to this street and just buy whatever you want to buy.
there you go.
And
Yeah,
then I got one really cool thing, and I couldn't really use that thing, but I went to the same designer and then I exchanged it for 2 cups, and I love them. So I'm like,
there you
I
go.
just really I'm like, yeah, I don't see myself as a minimalist per
Right.
se, but I definitely have a lot of that mentality.
Yeah.
Um, but I just find that I like less, and I like it maybe better quality, but I like it to have his like a story.
Hmm.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
random, not. Yeah,
Yeah. I've been seeing that a lot. A lot of people are going that way.
yeah.
All right.
Go local.
There you go. Go local. Um, all right. So we kind of talked about that stuff. So obviously people can find out about decluttering, all that kind of stuff from you because you're pretty much an expert on it. So what's coming up in your life, on your channel, that sort of thing, in like the next year or so, that we can kind of talk about and people can
Yeah.
get some value from you.
I am really trying to connect with a lot more people to feature inspiring stories.
Okay.
Previously, we've done a lot of home tours, and I love doing home tours. But I just think there's so much more to the story, and I just find that what I'm really passionate about is inspiring other people and giving them that little nudge they need
Mm-hmm.
to get the courage to do something about their dreams. Like, my channel probably does not always apply that much to like to normal, but everyone who has like a dream of wanting to do something different, maybe starting a business, maybe staying at home, freeing up finances, maybe traveling, all of that stuff is really what I'm passionate about. So I'm just trying to find people who have those stories to tell, and they might live in a small space, maybe a tiny one, maybe a micro one. I'm not so hung up on the exact square footage of it.
Right.
It's just the story and where they came from and where what their journey looked like and where they're at now. So yeah, I really want to feature a lot more of that. And then every other week, that's how I try to schedule it out. So every other week I have like I feature someone else, and then every other week I have a video where I just sit down. And I think I'm trying to transition those videos into more like personal videos. I'm doing 2018 saving up financial budget video
Okay.
thing. So there's a theme there. So every 2 months I'll do an update on how we are doing in saving up because we want at some point to be able to buy an apartment or a house or something. Um, and I have found that saving up is a lot more difficult for me to stay motivated than it was to pay it off.
Yeah.
We have saved up, but it's just a lot harder to me.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of like stay accountable somehow, and I'm going to do that by publishing a video every 2 months of how we're actually doing in sticking with the budget.
Right.
And just a lot more on focusing on like stress and mental health and like just the overall lifestyle of it, and of course decluttering and all that
Right.
stuff.
Right. It all
Yeah.
goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I really like that idea of, I mean, I agree with you on saving. It's more difficult. I'm the spender. I don't know, like, if you guys have identified, but, like, Rachel's definitely the saver, and she's the nerd in the family as far as budgeting goes, and I'm the free spirit, and I will spend every penny that we have and then some. So
I
it's,
think Auden is probably the spender and I'm probably the saver, but I
yeah,
think it depends on what the items are. So we kind of swap places every once in a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
I've kind of gotten stuck with the thing about keeping our personal budget,
Mhm.
but then he took over doing the accounting for the company, so that's great.
Hey, there you go.
Finally got out of that, so I'll
Yeah.
take any deal.
Yeah, right now I do of course I run a business, a freelance business for
Yeah,
marketing and stuff, and like I do all of that stuff myself. I mean, it's
yeah,
that, but it's not a, I don't have a lot of write-offs. I don't have a lot of things to deal with, and I definitely don't
no,
do a monthly budget on it.
yeah,
So like pretty much the money we make goes into the personal budget, and that's what she
yeah,
handles. And I mean, having a budget is definitely a necessity. It has to happen, and we
yeah,
wouldn't be where we're at if we didn't do it.
yeah.
But man, I'm just horrible at it. I'm really bad.
Yeah, if you
And
don't tell your money where to go, you have to be really structured with it. And I definitely, there are so many elements about budgeting that I really love. Like, I'm such a big fan of budgeting.
yeah,
I just don't always like doing it.
I agree.
But I like where it gets me. So
Yeah.
it's worth doing it, sticking with it.
Yeah, I give Rachel big props for sticking with me and making me stay on the budget because
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to deal with me. So,
It's hard sometimes. You should give me your insights to how I can deal with Morten when he overspends. Because I deal with myself, but being like, you're spending too much. Like, how do you say that in a nice way without sounding like a
sometimes
mad
you
mom?
sometimes you don't
Which I
say it
don't
in a
want to be.
nice way. You just have to come out and be like, "Hey, you're breaking our stuff. So just, quit." So, I don't know.
Stop doing what you're doing, honey. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
He's not super bad.
yeah, and so like I guess it is kind of that thing where she'll come to me and she'll be like, "Look, we don't have money for this. If you want to do this, then we have to stop here." And so like it's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. And then I'm just like, you know what? I know where we're at is because of the things that she's done. So it's like,
Yeah.
then I have to say, all right, well, I guess yeah. I mean, it's just kind of dawns on me that, yeah, you're right. So you just have to
Yeah.
give in, move on. And, we work together pretty well.
Yeah.
We don't have too many arguments over things. So it's been really good.
No.
And I tell you right now, like, if anyone's struggling to get out of debt, like, and you are having marital problems or anything like that, like, seriously, like 90% of our fights were over money. And that stuff, I mean, once you get rid of it, like, so much stress goes away. I mean,
Yeah.
that was,
There's
and
so
that,
much stress and frustration
yeah,
and anxiety and everything just bundled up in debt that it's just once you get your money under control, it's
mhm.
so much easier.
Yeah, it really is. And the same thing with like stuff in the house. Like I think decluttering works for that
Mm,
too, and even downsizing. Like our goal with downsizing was for Rachel to come home and homeschool the kids and stay home with them. Like that's what she had always wanted to do, and that was the reason we did all of it, was
yeah,
getting out of debt to be able to have the life that we wanted and eventually travel and her be able to stay home if she wanted to or whatever.
yeah,
Like all of those things, the reason that we got out of debt and the reason we downsized the house, that was why. And so like now we have that, and now our goals have changed a little bit where we're saying,
yeah,
man, we have a lot more freedom. We can decide how we want to work. We can decide, basically how much money we're going to make, because being freelance, I can
Yeah.
work from anywhere, you know, so it's like, it just opens up
Yeah,
so
and
many
how
possibilities.
important is money then? Like, how much money do you want to make? Do you want to be here, or is this fine?
Right. Well, and one of the things that a friend of mine told me, because I went over and helped him with fix his fence a few months ago, and he's like, man, you just have all the time in the world, and I was like, well, I've got time, but I don't have any money, you know. And he was like, well, you got to have one or the other. You can't have both of
Yeah,
them, you know. And so
yeah,
I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule. Some people probably make $100,000 or whatever, and they have all the time they want. But generally
mhm,
speaking, for most of us in the world, if you have
yeah.
money, you probably don't have that much family time.
You
And so,
sacrifice something,
yeah,
usually.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
would much rather spend time with the family and experience life and teach my kids and raise them the way I think they need to be raised and be an
yeah,
influence in their life rather than only see them on the weekends. And
yeah, exactly.
that's just not how we roll, So
No. And you guys over there in the States, you have longer work hours and you have no vacation and you have no
mm,
leave, like maternity leave or anything. You need to do something about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
We have a lot more flexibility over here,
yep,
but still, there are a lot of overworked
yeah.
families.
Well, I'm doing
Absolutely.
something about it, and I'm not working for anyone, so there you go.
Yeah. Yes, I think something that people don't understand a lot of the time, they're like, well, how can it free up mental space for you to have less clothes? Because it seems so weird. And I'm just like, well, when I open my closet, most of the time, I just have what I like in there. So I don't have a lot of choices. And I don't have to weed through all the stuff that doesn't fit or that I don't like. So it just becomes very easy. And that's just the clothes. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about that kind of stuff in the morning. I only have like 3 pairs of earrings or something like that. Like
Hmm.
everything is very minimal and very limited, and
Right.
that limit kind of makes it freeing somehow.
Yeah.
And I don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about all of these decisions, and they're just small, stupid decisions, anyways.
Yeah.
So I think just all together, the decluttering, all of the having a smaller wardrobe, living smaller, spending, like knowing what you're spending, it just all together is very impactful.
Yeah. It definitely makes sense. I know that whenever I don't know, like kind of whenever we started doing that, like I just realized how much less decisions I had to make. I mean, we have to make enough decisions as parents and stuff in a day to not have to
Yeah,
like go through and decide like what you're going to do with this pile in the corner or what you're going to do with these extra shirts or whatever. So it just makes sense. So,
yeah.
anyways, good point there. So, say someone is really considering this downsizing. Maybe they want to downsize as far as like an RV, or maybe they just want to cut their house size in half and go smaller. What type of advice would you have for them? Like, where do they start?
Well, I think I'd always start with the mental part of knowing why you're doing what you're doing, because knowing your priorities and knowing that this is what I want to do is the motivation that you're going to need when it gets kind of tough and you can get stuck in downsizing. So I think start with the mental stuff of knowing what your motivation is, and then after that, there are tons of things you can do to kind of limit the space that you need. So a lot of clothes you can probably get rid of. So many books. You can. Some people have it easy with like just converting books into ebooks or audiobooks. I prefer audiobooks, so it's easy for me, but I do like design and all that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of books with pictures in them,
Mm,
and they just don't work as well um, online.
right.
So if I were to give those away eventually, then it would probably just convert into something resembling a pinboard or something. Like
Right.
it would just probably be Pinterest instead. But I think there's so many things you can do like that. We also just have a lot of like sentimental items
Mm,
lying around, and I bet most of the stuff is just things that you never really got around to throwing out. So I think we sold so many like furniture things that we didn't use anymore. We had a whole room with a big like wardrobe cabinet, and some of it was our clothes. But we had so many extra sheets and blankets and all these boxes from when we were little, and we just started going through them. And then every 2 months, we would go back and look through it again.
Yep.
And I think over several years, we downsized it down to something that we can now store behind our bed, which is like a foot by a foot,
Right.
probably like a foot square.
Mm.
I have 2 or 3 boxes, and Morten has 1. We took pictures of a lot of stuff to just keep the memory that way.
Right.
And we also did the approach with kitchen items that we put it in a box and then we put it behind our couch for 2 months. And then if we found something that we actually needed, then we
Right.
just take it back out. So it wasn't like you weren't committing 100% until you actually had a proof of concept. So you probably can't do this with every area, but the kitchen items worked really well for us.
We kind of have that same process. It's kind of like you stick it in the shed or you stick it in the garage or something, and then if you don't use it in a couple months, then it's gone.
Yeah, and you can do that with your clothes as well. Just put all the hangers the same way, and then every time you take something out and use it, you turn the hanger so it flips the other way. And then after 2 months, it's very visual what you haven't touched.
That's cool. That's a good idea. I like that.
So just small things like that.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, I appreciate your time. Go ahead and let everyone know where they can get in touch with you at, where they can find out all this good information.
Yeah, just go to Go Downsize, the YouTube channel. And if you want to get more of the personal stuff, the vlog types, it's One Girl, One Suitcase. That's our travel channel. So that's going to be a lot of Denmark for 2018. But Go Downsize, we post once a week. Every weekend, we have a new video up. And it's all kinds of lifestyle, financial stuff, and hopefully a lot of inspiring stories.
There you go. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Take care. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like that interview, be sure to subscribe down below. I plan on doing some more of these. And be sure to go find Maria. Check her out, youtube.com/godownsize. She's got some great information for you. Have a great day.